Good morning. Alrighty, so yesterday evening we had a bit of an incident. I was trying to heat up some hot water for Erica so she could have a nice warm shower instead of a freezing cold one. It's kind of winter here. It's a bit chilly in the evenings. Sorry about that for you guys that are in snow, but it is cold for us here at the moment. Anyway, so when I started up the engine, unfortunately we got an alarm on the panel there, a water alarm, and that sensor there is for water that could be in between the outer seal and the inner seal around the sail drive. We've got Yamaha 3YMs 30s with SD20 sail drives. So I've done a bit of research online. I didn't want to start digging into this. I was trying to fix it in the dark last night. Done a bit of research. There's three possibilities. One, could be water in there. Two, could be a faulty sensor or condensation on the sensor. Or three, it could be what's called an amplifier, which amplifies the signal to the alarm. So going to jump in there now this morning, find out what it is so we can start investigating if we need to get some parts or if we have to get hauled out again, which fingers crossed, please, please, please don't be that. Anyway, let's jump down in the engine room and have a quick look.
Hi, we are Erica and Davy, an adventurous, slightly crazy couple who has taken on the challenge that is a hurricane-damaged catamaran. We have come so far and are beyond happy to be floating once more. Subscribe to our channel to follow our journey. Take a chance. You never know how perfect something may turn out to be.
Do you want to pass me the camera just so I can show where the sensor is?
Don't touch the cable.
Alrighty. Alright guys, so the sensor I'm talking about is here at the base of the sail drive. This one here. So I'm going to have to undo this one and find out what's going on. I believe there is also, I have to find it, but there is an amplifier in here somewhere. But let's start at the bottom and work our way back.
I'm even wearing my slippers, guys.
So it is a bit chilly in the evenings. We sleep with a blanket on, but I'm sorry for those of you in Canada or UK where it's really cold.
I'm trying to find it. You can't get a spanner on it. It's actually plastic. Could you pass my other tool bag just there? I'm going to try a pair of grips.
Don't break it.
No, but the thing's got to come out. I've got to check it.
So what exactly are you checking for?
I'm going to take out the sensor and then have a look at see if there's any water down in the hole, because that will tell us if it's leaking, and then we'll go from there. Oh, I didn't like that sound. No, according to the forum I read last night, it's not just pop off, it's it unscrews multiple times. It's got multiple threads. That is not playing ball. It's plastic, so it shouldn't corrode. Do you want to start the engine, find out if it's even going off this morning?
Yeah.
It's still going off.
So you can hear it more in here.
Hope it magically had fixed itself.
Yeah.
It's still going off.
It's still going off. And it's not water in it.
It isn't?
I think I might have broken the sensor.
the alarm is still going off, even though the sensor is not attached to the water seals. We did have an issue with the water cooling pipe. I'll get Davy to go more in depth on that one. So
Stop now.
I need to check inside. It may have stopped. There's no more buzzing.
Huh?
No more buzzing.
All right, turn it off.
So what?
All right, I need to put my glasses on for a start and have a look at this little unit. We'll take it inside. So that looks like it's supposed to still be in there. The plug that's in there now should have unscrewed. So I'd say it's a faulty sensor. It's probably some corrosion between. Basically all this does, if you've got water that touches these 2 points, it'll make a connection. So then the alarm will go off. But seeing as I've removed this and the alarm still goes off when it's plugged in, the alarm's still going off. And they're not wet, there's no water on them. So that's fantastic news. So that means that there is no water inside the sail drive itself. But I think we should get a new one of these sensors because the corrosion's inside here. Plus I need to drill out and remove the part that snapped off because it was completely seized.
Oh, yeah.
But no all out. All right, so
Crisis averted.
crisis averted. So we'll get online. We'll order one of these. There's a couple other little bits and pieces we need for some engine servicing anyway. So what we'll do is we'll put a little list together and let's get a few parts in. All right, guys, crisis averted.
So research, Davy.
Alright, so I'm researching to find out what these sensors cost, but looking through some of the forums and stuff about these, it's very typical that these things fail, and also very typical that they snap off the plastic, so it's another poor design. Be interesting to find out what they charge for this little piece of plastic, two probes and a piece of wire. Probably have to mortgage the boat, babe, I reckon, to get a new one of them. Good morning, guys. Alright, so today is the day. Erica is away. She's away for about 3 days. And I have been planning on getting the starboard engine out to recondition it, basically. There's some work I want to do on some of the pipes for the injectors, the high pressure pump side. And I want to do some repainting on it. There's some flaking of paint and little rust areas and stuff like that. So I've decided I'm going to pull it out. I'm going to disconnect it from the sail drive. And then I'm going to put it here into the deck. So I've got a little workspace set up. And we're going to do all the little bits and pieces, odds and jobs, and repaint it and then drop it back in, all while she's away. So stay tuned, let's crack on. Okay, so first things first, obviously take this block out. There's a lot of things we need to disconnect. So I have been spraying a bit of WD-40 and penetrating lube, different stuff onto the motor last few days. So what I've got to do, I've got to go around disconnect. So I've got throttle cables, gear cable, exhaust, raw water, electricity, and also here where it's connected to the sail drive itself. So I'm going to chuck this on time lapse while I disconnect everything, and then we'll check the video back on when I get the boys over. Obviously this isn't a one-man job to actually lift the block out. There's some nice lifting spots. I've got a nice bit of space here on the deck, so it shouldn't be too hard to get it out, but I am going to call in a bit of help from the guys on the other boats. Alright, so got cracking down here. One of the first things we wanted to do was obviously turn off the raw water because we don't want the engine compartment filling up. On the SD20 sail drives, this is the raw water in. It comes up through the sail drive leg. I have actually opened this up because I chucked this on a time lapse. Screwed it, but unfortunately this one is seized up. It's not sealing at all. So I do have another one. Here, where do we go? So I have another one. I have a spare one. It's a reconditioned one that I had on the boat. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this off, do it reasonably quickly, purely for the fact that obviously water's going to pour into the boat while I do it. So let's try that. Alright, that's the new one in. Just check it. Oh, it's a bit stiff as well. Oh, bloody hell. It's only been in 2 seconds. It was working before I put the camera up. Here it goes. So there we go. We got raw water flow, nice decent flow. So once I put this engine back in, that will be perfect. Alright, now the water's off. Power should be the next thing. But I'm just going to make a little bit of space here. I'm a bit cramped, so I'm going to pop the camera up in the corner, make a bit of space, and then we'll get onto the electric side of things. Obviously got to isolate that, make sure it's nice and safe as well before we disconnect a lot of other stuff. Alrighty. So there she is, guys. She's all separated. Separated here from the sail drive, disconnected the engine mounts, all the raw water, the power, hot water tank. There's a lot of parts on here really. So just waiting for the boys to come on over, and I've attached a rope here. We're going to put a cross beam and lift her out. I presume I'll have to stay in here and guide while the boys lift. So fingers crossed. All right, so luckily Erica is away, as I have the engine in the cockpit. So I'm going to start stripping off all the bits that are in the way. Alternator, I actually have a bigger one to go on here, and water pump, I've got another one to go on here. So I'm going to strip off all the bits that are in the way before I start, clean everything down, and then I'm going to paint everything, put everything back together again. As I said, luckily Erica's not here, because I have been using the kitchen sink, don't tell her, to clean some engine parts. Alright, so I normally have Erica to do the camera work. Obviously she's away, so a couple of mistakes have been made. I was pushing the wrong button and the camera wasn't working. Anyway, so you've missed a couple of steps, but here we go, I'll talk you through what I've done. Stupid microphone. Alright, so the motor is looking so much better. It's all been painted up. So what I've done is first I cleaned everything off with a wire brush. And then after that I did an Osmo treatment, and then I degreased everything, rinsed it down, I taped everything up, and now I have sprayed it over with a enamel based engine paint, which is a high temperature rating, just a local product, and it's looking so much better. On the back end here I have started put things back together. So the raw water pump, I've completely rebuilt that. I put all that back together with a brand new set inside it, so that should be like new. Installed the belt for it. All of the pulleys, they had some slight corrosion on the inside, so I've spent hours and hours sanding and making them flat and shiny and repainting these guys, so now they are ready to be reinstalled. I did find a problem here. So this is the exhaust outlet where you're mixing elbow joins on, and I found out there'd been some electrolysis and some slight damage in pitting on here. So I've gone over with a bit of JB Weld, mixed that up, and I'm gonna let it takes 4 to 6 hours to dry completely. So I'm gonna let it set off for a little while, and then I'm gonna use a flat file and build that back up. Well, sorry, shave it back is probably the better wording. If need be, I'll put another slight little layer here and there where we need it. But otherwise, success so far. So I'm going to head to town. We've ordered some parts for here. I've got some pipes for the injectors. I've got a couple of hoses, and they're over at Boxpack. So I'm going to run into town while that JB Weld starts setting. Then I'll come back and we'll finish putting this baby back together this afternoon.
What have you been up to?
Engine's back in, connected everything back up. You want to have a look, guys? I've been around and I've connected up my cable for my throttle, my gear linkage, the fuel. I bled the fuel using the lift pump, which is just down here, so I've got most of the air out, so hopefully it should fire up first time. I'm refilling obviously the coolant. I lost a lot of that, changing out the hoses. I've connected up with a new start relay. I've changed up and fixed up a load of these connections that weren't in very good condition. I've still got to put that damn sensor back on, but unfortunately that there had broken off, so I need to drill that out and then pull that. I've connected up all my wiring on this side here, so everything from the alternator to the starter motor, the main ground, and I've put a lot of dielectric grease on everything to stop everything corroding. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll start. So I'm going to hand the camera to Erica, so I've got all hands free and available, and ask her to step up to the helm for me.
Will the engine start? Dun dun dun. Moment of truth. second.
Okay, I'm clear. Do you want to try?
Look at that! Better than before! Happy days!
Try and give it more revs.
So for us to give it more revs, I need 2 hands. You gotta stick this thing in the side. And then you can push it forward. More? So while Davy's fine-tuning the revs on and tick over and stuff on the engine, I'm making lasagna. So job well done. We have engine running, so lasagna is one of Davy's favorites. But get this, actually. So Davy likes lasagna, yet he will not eat spaghetti bolognese because he doesn't like red sauce pasta. Isn't lasagna red sauce pasta? Answer that question for me in the comments, right? So engine is in.
Engine is in, engine is done. I'm going to do an oil change on it today, but I have just got, finally, I want to show you guys, actually, do you remember the part that we're going to have to remortgage the boat for? That's this sensor down here. The water sensor is now back in. It was an absolute pain in the backside getting the old one out, but I did manage to drill it out and then flick it out. So that's all connected up now. So all of that is good and running.
And
this engine is fantastic.
We didn't have to mortgage the boat for it.
No, we didn't have to mortgage the boat, so we did get in contact with a company in Miami that sent us out some parts, and he was fantastic, to be honest, because we were looking online and it was, what was it, about 160 bucks for that part, original part.
And we got it for 34.
35, and it was an original Yanmar part, so I was super impressed, and yes, thank you so much.
So one of the next steps will be filling up with diesel. If you remember back to Puerto Rico, we got these 2 55-gallon drums, so this will help with our fuel capacity. So thanks for watching this week's episode, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and we're one step closer to leaving Lupron. And we didn't have to rehaul out the boat, so that's fantastic.